Are you gonna sue Dogpack?
Will MrBeast sue his former employee, Dogpack 404? Honestly, the better question is, should Jimmy sue Dogpack? In light of Jimmy coming out finally and speaking with Oompaville and giving his side of the story, I thought I would give my thoughts and opinions as the creator's attorney to the whole situation. I will link the Oompaville video below. Yes, we all want to know, is Jimmy going to sue Dogpack, whose real name is Dawson French?
Probably gonna have to. I mean, it's just...
Because it seems like Jimmy might be entitled to it. Today in my video, I will cover this question as well as how you can protect yourself as a creator from rogue ex-employees who might make false videos about you or your business. Hi, I'm Tyler Chow, the creator's attorney, and I represent some of the biggest YouTubers in the world as their part-time general counsel and fractional COO. I also have worked in Hollywood for over 16 years at companies like Disney, Skydance, and BuzzFeed before leaving it all behind for YouTube, which I believe is the new Hollywood. Based on my almost 20 years of being an entertainment attorney, where I have dealt with high-level PR crises and litigations, I can give you a pretty clear breakdown as to the considerations that Jimmy and his legal team are going through right now in considering whether or not to sue Dogpack. I'm not going to go too far into a summary of what happened. You can watch my last video, which I'll link below, where I broke down all the allegations from Dawson, where he claims that MrBeast has faked his videos where the content is made by CGI, that Jimmy is hosting illegal lotteries and fostering gambling in children. There are many other videos out there covering what happened 4 months ago. So are the allegations by Dogpack real? It seems like Soggy Serial did a deep dive on the situation and showed evidence that Dogpack was faking some of his facts. This was really bold of Dogpack to think that no one would think to verify his evidence in his videos. So it would seem that Dogpack might have faked some of his videos, and Soggy showed how Dawson skewed the facts about MrBeast by being vague and hiding behind his NDA, as well as cutting out certain parts of MrBeast's live stream. Make sure to watch Soggy's video, which I will link below, for a full breakdown of his investigation. Do I think these allegations are true? Probably not, and it does seem like Dawson was trying to get famous off of MrBeast by making up or stretching the facts. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I think, because as YouTubers, we have our haters and people who love us no matter what we do. Jimmy said something really interesting in his interview with Oompaville, which was that no matter what he does, people will hate him. I did not know this, but he said that when he does philanthropy videos, he actually gets more hate than if he were to just do a pure entertainment video like burying himself alive. Burying himself alive, that's fine, but build 100 homes for the homeless and Twitter goes crazy with hate for him. The main goal of my video today was to teach creators how to protect themselves against rogue employees who might want their 15 seconds of fame off the backs of their famous employers who happen to be big YouTubers. This is why I tell creators that one of the first agreements that they have to put in place is an independent contractor for their editors or producers or assistants, or if you have a full-time employee, you need an employment contract. Because when you put an independent contractor or employee contract in place, you can put a non-disparagement and confidentiality clause in there, otherwise known as NDA, which can also be a standalone document. I will cover the importance of these two types of agreements later on in the video. But realize that having one of these provisions or an NDA does not make you bulletproof, because as we can see from Dawson and other instances of people breaking their NDAs, the NDA is only as strong as the employer or the company who is willing to enforce it. And also realize that having an NDA does not protect you if it is being used as a shield for illegal activities. So this leads us to the crux of the question for this video. Will MrBeast sue Dogpack for violating his NDA and for defamation? I think those are his two biggest claims: a breach of contract for violating his NDA and for defamation. As attorneys, we often encounter potential clients who ask us if they have a case that is meaningful and has a good chance of winning. There are two questions that we have to ask ourselves and our clients while we determine whether there is a strong case and what are our chances of winning. This is not widely known, but I represent Jax Films, and we did the same analysis when we were figuring out whether or not he should sue Sniper Wolf when she showed up at his house last year and live streamed the front of his house to her 5 million Instagram followers. It was so awful, and I have so many feelings and thoughts about it. But I will cover this at the end of the video so that we don't get off track, because I'm very angry at Sniper Wolf. So the two questions that an attorney and the client have to consider are these. Number one, has this person's actions caused you damages? And number two, does the person who caused you the damage and the harm actually have any money or assets that could pay for this judgment? Meaning, can you actually collect anything from them? The answer to these two questions usually needs to be yes before moving on to the lawsuit. I think Jimmy has a definite yes to the damages question, because he shared in his interview with Oompaville that he has lost millions in brand deals. And the brands actually said that it was in direct response to the Dogpack videos. He even asked the brands for that in writing, which is smart in showing that he is being properly advised by his attorneys, and he's really thinking like a CEO now, because they have done this consideration already. As to the second question, can Jimmy actually collect anything from Dawson? I think the answer to this is most likely a no, unless he has some rich parents that we don't know about. So how would Jimmy collect from him? Well, if you sue someone and win against them, then that judgment could follow them for the rest of their lives. But that is rather punitive. So what will Jimmy do? I think he has to figure out what his goal is. Is he trying to collect the millions that he lost out on with those brand deals? Then he should probably sue. As he said in his video when Oompaville asked if he was going to sue Dawson, he said,
probably gonna have to.
but if Dawson doesn't have millions of dollars to his name, then is it worth it to Jimmy to spend 6 to 7 figures in legal fees? Because it's very expensive to sue someone in the US. But if it's not, and his goal is to rehab and save his reputation, then a lawsuit probably is not the way to go. I have guesses as to what I think MrBeast will do, but before I get to that, I want to say something. Don't be a big creator or company and try to silence people with NDAs. Realize that NDAs cannot protect you against illegal activities. Look at Harvey Weinstein and Sean Combs. They slapped NDAs on all of their alleged victims to hide their illegal and heinous crimes. I really struggled with making this video because my life's mission has always been to protect creators. I literally left Hollywood because I was done protecting the big companies, because I saw creators getting screwed and I wanted to protect the underdogs. But I realized that this video might be construed as being more protective of creators who are media companies now. And a weird switch, am I now saying that companies and those with more resources should be the ones who prevail during a litigation dispute? No, I'm not. I tell my clients this all the time. Run a clean and good business. Treat your employees well, and you will never have to worry about disgruntled employees making videos about having worked for you. And by the way, because I represent these big creators who have employees, I had a real-time situation where one of my clients was about to lay off one of their employees, and this happened weeks after the Dogpack videos were released. I made sure to draft a very comprehensive severance and settlement agreement, and in the non-disparagement provision, I made sure to add the word video, which I did not have in my template before the whole MrBeast and Dogpack situation. I always advise my clients to give a severance because that's really the right thing to do. So, do I think MrBeast will sue Dogpack? I made a short video about this a little while back where I stated that I do not think MrBeast would sue Dogpack because MrBeast is now a multi-billion-dollar media company. I think I said 700 million, and then a whole lot of people corrected me. And suing a former employee who is young without any means of paying the judgment would just seem punitive. And could it be bullying and potentially scare off future employees? When I used to work at the studios, we would often have actors who would breach their contracts, and we would be in a position to sue them. But we would always jokingly assess the case because we knew we would never sue an actor. Would you want to be known as the studio that sued an actor? Of course not, because actors wouldn't want to come work for you then. And that will be the exact same consideration that MrBeast himself, his legal team at Quinn Emanuel will have to consider. And there's another reason why I think Jimmy will not sue Dogpack. He threatened to sue Dogpack in his cease and desist letters to Dawson. Remember, he sent 2. And this is why I'm always very firm with my clients when we are about to send a cease and desist letter. I tell them, understand that sending out a letter with no plans to go to litigation is a bark with no bite. Jimmy sent those 2 letters to Dawson with the last deadline of August 1st that he had to pull down his videos and stop making any new videos. But because he never filed litigation, it really confirms my original opinion that I do not think Jimmy will sue Dawson. Honestly, discovery will be very onerous and awful for MrBeast during litigation because MrBeast and his whole company will have to divulge and disclose a lot of private information. I know Jimmy said in his interview with Oompaville that he's not scared of discovery because the video interview that he was doing was discovery. I have to strongly disagree. That was a very soft interview with Oompaville, and that was not discovery. It's clear that Jimmy chose Oompaville because he is a Beast fan and wouldn't ask the hard questions. I do not believe that MrBeast has been part of a lawsuit yet where there is actual discovery, and he has not been part of a real trial. Remember all his lawsuits around Beast Burgers and D's Nuts? Well, I know D's Nuts was settled, but the MrBeast Burger lawsuit is still ongoing because MrBeast just filed an amended complaint back in November, and when I checked, the MrBeast Burger website was still up. Realize that discovery is incredibly invasive and time-consuming. I have been part of litigations where millions of emails were reviewed and text messages on phones have to be disclosed, plus company Slack accounts where we have to go to Slack and request millions and millions of Slack messages. In a recent pre-litigation issue with a client, we narrowed down the dispute range to 4 months, and I had to review over 10,000 company emails to figure out what we were going to produce during discovery. It is mind-blowingly invasive. You would be shocked in what is in company emails. And based on what I understand of creators, YouTubers, and how young Jimmy was when he started his company, imagine that Dogpack's attorney asks for all the company emails, all text messages, all Slacks, all internal company correspondence. Imagine when those are reviewed and scrutinized and publicized, pretty much the same way Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's life was exposed during their trial. That type of publicity to the world is not good publicity. By the way, this is not a challenge to MrBeast that he should sue Dawson. I think if he were to sue Dawson, he would probably prevail because it sounds like Dawson knowingly and maliciously lied and faked content and evidence. But Jimmy doesn't need these damages from Dogpack, especially since he's not going to be getting any money from him. Sure, he could win and a huge judgment could be found against Dawson, which would follow him for the rest of his life, and that could destroy his life. And if Jimmy really wanted to destroy Dawson's life, then he definitely could. But at the end of the day, a huge company like MrBeast, which is probably valued at in the billions, has to have a pristine reputation. I could imagine big brands not wanting to partner with him anymore because it's not a good look for a huge media company to go after a single person like an ex-employee. He could consider alternatives. Before litigation, MrBeast could send another formal cease and desist letter demanding that Dogpack remove the videos and issue an apology. This would be a less aggressive first step, but likely to be unsuccessful since he already sent 2 letters in the past. What I might do is actually draft the complaint. If I was representing MrBeast, I would file a complaint, send it to Dawson, and let him know that he means business. If he doesn't take down his videos and issue a public apology, then he would file the complaint. He could try mediation or settlement. If possible, an out-of-court resolution could save time, money, and public scrutiny. Actually, investing in PR efforts to counteract Dogpack's narrative could be more effective than litigation, and I'm pretty sure that MrBeast has already hired a PR firm. And I guess the question is, would MrBeast's audience or brands who give him millions of dollars prefer that he take the high road and let bygones be bygones? Would this harm MrBeast's reputation as a positive, creator-focused brand? Or would they prefer that maybe he be vindictive and punitive? A lawsuit against a former employee could be construed as bullying, but Jimmy did say that he's damned if he does or damned if he doesn't. Because if he doesn't sue, then people will accuse him of having something to hide. So he might sue on principle that he has nothing to hide and to prove his innocence. Honestly, I believe if this happened 3 or 5 years ago, Jimmy probably would sue, and he could probably find some lawyers who are not quite the level that Quinn Emanuel is at, who would probably advise him that he would win the lawsuit. So sure, go ahead and sue, seeing how it would probably be good PR for everybody. But this is no longer the consideration because of how big MrBeast is as a company and as the biggest YouTuber in the world. By the way, it doesn't take 4 months for investigation against Dogpack to be undertaken or for a complaint to be drafted and filed. But there are so many considerations as to why someone would not want to undertake litigation because of how invasive it is and how expensive it is. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, when I represented Jack's Films, we took several months of evaluating and contemplating whether or not we were going to sue Sniper Wolf for showing up and doxing Jack. At the end of the day, for reasons I cannot disclose, we decided not to sue her. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't have won. There are lots of reasons why someone doesn't want to sue. Ultimately, what is Jimmy trying to accomplish? Does he want to repair and save his reputation? Then he probably shouldn't sue. But if he wants to prove a point and scare future employees, then he might sue. But this chilling effect could prevent the best talent from wanting to work at MrBeast. If he wants the best editors might not want to work in such a work environment where they are scared of their boss. But if he wants to prove how powerful and untouchable he is, then he could sue. But let's also consider what Dawson might do. Some of you might say, well, if he doesn't have any money to be sued, how would he hire an attorney? Well, depending on the strength of his case, he might be able to get an attorney who's willing to work on contingency or pro bono who wants the publicity of going up against MrBeast. The attorney could get something on contingency if Dawson decides to countersue alleging wrongful termination, or if he attempts to frame the lawsuit as a SLAP, which is a strategic lawsuit against public participation, where he argues that his freedom of speech rights are being silenced by a public figure like MrBeast. Lastly, consider the emotional toll. Lawsuits can be emotionally taxing even for high-profile clients like MrBeast. This could affect his ability to focus on his business and content. If he's spending a lot of time preparing for litigation and discovery, that would pull him away from his videos. And even with substantial resources, litigation is very, very expensive. Is the return on investment worth the financial and emotional toll? Honestly, it would seem that Jimmy's reputation is doing better with Soggy's video debunking Dogpack's allegations in the interview with Oompaville, where he sort of defended his innocence. But honestly, I have no idea. I made the mistake of going to the YouTube drama subreddit since it was referenced in the MrBeast response video. And truthfully, I think so many of my brain cells died a quick death trying to make sense of what was being said. I think the mods restored some of the pro MrBeast comments that Jimmy claimed were deleted, but then I got lost with comments on cannibalism. But honestly, there were some fair comments about why is Jimmy so worried about what a few people on Reddit are saying about him. Honestly, it made me sad that one of the most famous and wealthiest people on the planet cannot stop worrying about what anonymous people on Reddit are saying about him. This black hole that I fell into the last 3 days researching and scripting this video just highlights how hard it is to be a creator. I left Hollywood because I saw how often creators were being mistreated, screwed, or taken advantage of by companies and brands. But honestly, it's just hard being a celebrity. The bigger you get, the more of a target you have in your back. Here, the person taking advantage was a single person in the form of an ex-employee. Now, I don't want to discourage creators out there from continuing to make videos and growing their businesses, because realize this is the American dream. You no longer have to wait for a studio head to deem your story worthy of being told. If you have the creativity to write and the courage to go on camera, then potentially millions of people can see your videos. Let's think of how far Jimmy has come from when he first started his channel just 12 years ago. The level of success and accomplishment, as well as the wealth that he has been able to attain in just 12 years, is astonishing. This is what takes people their entire lifetimes and careers to accomplish. And it is a testament to what a brilliant YouTuber he is. So instead of this being a cautionary tale, I want want this to be a positive video that shows creators that you can do the right thing, stay on the path, and the truth will eventually come out. I know a lot of you have blamed Jimmy for not coming out with a reaction video sooner, but realize that he is now a mature CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and this is how you react to allegations of wrongdoing. You hire a law firm like Quinn Emanuel and you let them perform their investigation and find out for you what is real and what is not. Understand that the truth will always come out and prevail. I know a lot of you clicked on this video because you wanted to find out what an attorney thinks about the MrBeast situation, and this isn't unlike when I used to represent celebrities in Hollywood and fans or employees would want to take advantage or use your spotlight for their own fame. It doesn't really matter what I think at the end of the day. It's just my opinion, and I believe the truth always comes out. If Jimmy decides to sue, we will see from discovery, deposition, and from the trial, if it goes that far, what the real facts are. And if he doesn't sue, then this will all fade away, and then we will find the next YouTube drama to latch onto in a few months. As I was saying earlier, for those creators who want to know how to protect themselves, I believe you should put the proper agreements in place. Because what happened with Dogpack is an outlier. 99% of the time when you put an NDA in place or independent contractor or an employee agreement, the people who sign these agreements will abide by it. Most people are terrified of getting sued. I'm actually very surprised that Dogpack was so bold and not worried about getting sued, because I can pretty much guarantee that he's going to have a very hard time working in the creator space, because which creator would want to hire him? They would always be worried that he would reveal confidential information or secrets from the company. So as a creator who's the CEO of your own media company, you need to protect your IP. Every person who you hire to work with you, whether they be an independent contractor, an employee, who is an editor or a producer, a manager or an assistant, will create IP for you, and you need a piece of paper that states that all of their results and proceeds are owned by you. Because I have had people who started channels with my clients, maybe it's their best friend, maybe it's a relative who edited their videos from day one, but because there was no agreement in place, this person will turn around in a couple of years down the line and say, you know what, I own 50% of your channel because I made you, and I own all of the videos that I edited for you. And because you have no agreement in place, it's very hard to argue otherwise. And this is why I'm finally selling my independent contractor template after so many of you have come to me asking me for a chance to buy my template. So for the holidays, I'm actually launching a holiday sale where you can buy my template at 20% off. And if you buy within the next 2 weeks, I will add in a free live Q&A where you can come and ask me questions about the template, about your business, about being a creator, how to protect yourself, maybe about copyright strikes and claims, and anything else about your YouTube channel or your creator business that you would like to ask me about. And also, as part of the sale, I'm offering 50% off of all one-on-one calls with me, whether they be 30 minutes or 60 minutes. And I am going to offer a discount off of my trademarks. I think if you have your LLC in place, if you have general liability insurance, media insurance, and you pay your taxes, you're so far ahead of the pack. But the last part of protecting your IP and growing a portfolio of IP that is attractive for an acquisition or an exit, which is what I do for some of my clients. I'm currently in discussions with private equity funds to sell one of my clients for 8 figures. Realize that having your trademarks will become your IP portfolio, and realize that the avalanche of creators are coming. If you have a name that's not very unique, some young kid who's going to start their YouTube channel in the next year or 2 or 5 years might come and take your trademark. Remember the Mythbusters and Discovery trademark with a very famous science creator? Well, he was able to go grab the Mythbusters trademark because Discovery let it lapse. And realize that once you have the trademark, you own it. And you want to be the person who owns the trademark first. And stay tuned, I am going to be launching my creator legal community in January. And the news is that this is going to be a free community. It's very important to me because I represent some of the biggest YouTubers now that I don't become too exclusive. I want my information to be widely available to creators of every size. Since I recently did my Think Media interviews with Sean Cannell on his podcast, so many of you have reached out to me with phone calls and wanting to know how to protect yourselves. I have had so many calls with professionals like doctors, lawyers, financial advisors who are very smart. As they're starting their YouTube channels, they want to know how to set their LLC, how to pay taxes, how to get the proper insurance in place, how to do their trademarks, and those are all things that I can help you do. But my community will give you a chance to come and attend my live Q&As where I will answer questions, and you will be able to meet other creators who are also on a very lonely path, because it's very lonely being a creator. But I'm so happy that I get to do this, that I get to protect creators and make videos where I educate creators. I'm Tyler Chow, the creator's attorney. I used to always end my videos with, remember, we were born perfect and we just forget. But also realize that becoming a creator is such an investment in your future. I'm currently putting YouTube channels in trust for 2 of my clients, and realize that having a YouTube channel that you can leave to your kids is more valuable than real estate. So I'll see you guys next time. And please drop in the comments what other videos you would like for me to make. Okay, bye.